guys, I'm Reeva, and I'm begging you to not miss the first episode of Tropical Island of Treasure 5, shot in Jamaica, this Saturday on SABC 1.
Reeva had a big voice, and she had a big heart with big dreams and big beliefs, and strong ones.
Accept who you are, acknowledge your absolute can-dos in life, and work on your maybes so that you can be a better person for the ultimate upliftment of those around you. Such a loss to society because she would have done so much. She would have made big bookmarks in the world.
The way that you go out and you make your exit is so important. You either made an impact in a positive way or a negative way. Just always be true to yourself.
Reeva Steenkamp was a rising star, a beautiful and accomplished model who had captured the hearts of many with her charm and grace. Born on August 19, 1983, in Cape Town, South Africa, Reeva grew up with dreams of making a significant impact. She studied law at the University of Port Elizabeth, demonstrating her dedication and intelligence. But it was her captivating presence that led her to a career in modeling and television. Her life was one of promise and potential. Reeva was not just a pretty face. She was an outspoken advocate for women's rights and a voice against gender-based violence. Her vibrant personality and commitment to her cause made her a beloved figure, admired by friends, family, and fans alike. But behind her radiant smile, was there a sense of fear that nobody saw? On Valentine's Day 2013, the world was shocked by news that Reeva had been tragically killed. The details were sparse and confusing. Reeva had been found dead in the home of her boyfriend, Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius. She had been shot multiple times through a locked bathroom door. The initial reports raised more questions than they answered. How could such a horrific event occur in the safety of a home? What led to that fateful night? As investigators dove into the case, the picture became murkier. Reeva and Oscar had been in a relationship for several months, and to the public, they seemed like the perfect couple. But behind closed doors, was there a darker side to their relationship that nobody saw? Friends of Reeva's described her as happy and looking forward to the future. But were there signs of trouble that went unnoticed? The courtroom drama that followed was intense and highly publicized, drawing attention from around the globe. As Oscar Pistorius stood trial for her murder, the world watched and waited for answers. His defense claimed it was a tragic accident, a case of mistaken identity where he thought an intruder had entered his home. The prosecution painted a different picture, one of a volatile relationship and a man with a quick temper. Witnesses spoke of arguments and shouting heard from within the home. Did these signs point to a premeditated act of violence? Or was it truly a horrific mistake, as Pistorius would claim? As the trial progressed, Reeva's life and legacy were often overshadowed by the sensationalism surrounding the case. Yet, it is crucial to remember who she was: a loving daughter, a dedicated professional, and a passionate advocate for justice. Her untimely death left a void in the lives of those who knew her, and a series of haunting questions. What really happened that night? And could her death have been prevented? Reeva Steenkamp's story is one of unfulfilled potential and tragic loss, a stark reminder of the complexities behind closed doors and the critical importance of understanding the dynamics of intimate partnerships. Join us today as we unravel this complex and captivating case together. Greetings, everyone, and welcome back to Memento Mori Stories. I'm Ella Favela, your guide through the shadows of human existence. If you're drawn to the darker corners of life, where coffee fuels creativity and tales of true crime send shivers down your spine, you've found your place. Whether you're a seasoned listener or you're joining us for the first time, I'm thrilled to have you along for the ride. So grab a seat and let's delve into some chilling narratives. Before we descend into the depths, here's a little secret. If you thrive on stories that twist your perception and keep you on edge, hitting the subscribe button and ringing the notification bell are a must. With new content dropping bi-weekly, I'd be honored to have you join us in the shadows. And hey, if you're curious about what goes on behind the scenes of my life, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. I've always got something exciting brewing, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. You'll find all of my social links conveniently located on screen, and they're clickable for you in the description box below. Also, an exclusive offer for my Instagram followers. Whoever becomes the 250th follower at Memento Mori Art will receive a custom painting crafted by yours truly, delivered straight to your doorstep, completely free of charge. It's my way of expressing gratitude for your support and welcoming you into our ever-growing community. Now, let's talk about what lies ahead. Today, we're exploring some incredibly heavy and sensitive topics that can evoke strong emotions. These are not just stories, but real-life experiences that have deeply affected individuals and communities. Please be advised, this channel's content is not intended for minors. This episode includes graphic descriptions and in-depth examinations of domestic abuse, violence against women, assault, and murder. These narratives can be disturbing, and listener discretion is strongly advised. Because of the intensity of these themes, it's important to take care of your mental and emotional well-being. We believe in the importance of discussing these issues openly to foster understanding and empathy, but we also recognize the potential for distress. If at any point you feel uneasy, or if these subjects hit too close to home, it is absolutely okay to step back and skip this episode. Your mental and emotional health is my top priority, and it's crucial to listen to your own needs and boundaries. As we navigate these harrowing stories, remember that the aim is not to sensationalize the pain, but to honor the victims and to shed light on the realities they faced. We want to create a space where these difficult conversations can lead to greater awareness and ultimately to change. By understanding the darker aspects of human behavior, we hope to contribute to the broader dialogue on prevention and support for those affected by such violence. If you or someone you know is grappling with these issues firsthand or carrying the weight of past trauma, please know that you're not alone. There are resources and support systems available to help you. In the description box below, we've compiled a list of links and resources that may offer you some assistance. Whether it's seeking support from a professional, talking to a trusted friend, or simply taking a break from these heavy subjects, there are pathways to healing. Thank you for joining us in this journey. Let's approach these stories with the compassion and respect they deserve, and strive to learn from them in ways that promote understanding and healing. Now, it's time to fix yourself a cup of coffee and settle in as we examine the harrowing true story of Reeva Steenkamp.
Put your hands together for Reeva Steenkamp. Reeva is a student, not just any student, she is a final year law student. Her hobbies include meeting with friends, reading, and going to the horse races.
Reeva was going to be one of the most powerful young women.
She wanted to be everywhere.
Fame didn't change the Reeva we know.
Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp, born on August 19, 1983, in Cape Town, South Africa, was a woman whose life was marked by ambition, compassion, and an enduring spirit. Raised in a close-knit family, she was the beloved daughter of Barry Steenkamp, a horse trainer, and June Steenkamp, a catering company owner. From an early age, Reeva exhibited a blend of charm and tenacity that would characterize her future endeavors. Growing up in the coastal city of Port Elizabeth, Reeva developed a deep appreciation for the natural beauty which surrounded her. Her early years were filled with laughter, outdoor activities, and a strong sense of community. She attended St. Dominic's Priory School, where she was not only a diligent student, but also an enthusiastic participant in sports, particularly horseback riding, a passion which she had inherited from her father. Her athleticism and competitive spirit shone through, laying the foundation for her future pursuits. Reeva's beauty and grace were evident from a young age, but it was her intelligence and determination which truly set her apart. After completing her high school education, she pursued a degree in law at the University of Port Elizabeth, which later became part of Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University. She graduated with a Bachelor of Law degree, showcasing her dedication to her studies and her aspiration to make a meaningful impact in the legal field. Despite her academic achievements, Reeva's striking looks and magnetic personality drew her into the world of modeling. She quickly became sought after, gracing the covers of magazines and featuring in high-profile advertising campaigns. Her career took her to Johannesburg, where she established herself as a prominent figure in the fashion and beauty industry. Reeva's success in modeling was not just a testament to her physical beauty, but also to her professionalism and work ethic. She became known for her punctuality, positive attitude, and the respectful way in which she treated everyone that she worked with. Reeva's modeling career was marked by several significant highlights which underscored her versatility and appeal. She became a regular face in FHM magazine, being named one of the 100 sexiest women in the world for 2 consecutive years. This recognition catapulted her into the limelight, allowing her to work with some of the top brands and photographers in the industry. Her poise and confidence in front of the camera made her a favorite among designers and advertisers alike. One of the most notable milestones in Reeva's career was her role as the face of Avon Cosmetics in South Africa. This prestigious position highlighted her appeal and influence as she represented the brand's ideals of beauty and empowerment. Reeva's association with Avon helped to solidify her status as a top model and brought her into the homes of many South Africans through television commercials and print advertisements. In addition to her work with Avon, Reeva was featured in campaigns for major retailers like Woolworths and Toyota. Her ability to adapt to different styles and themes made her a versatile model, capable of both high fashion and commercial work. She also appeared on the runway at various fashion shows, where her elegance and striking looks never failed to captivate the audience. Despite her success, Reeva remained grounded and focused on using her platform for good. She was passionate about advocating for women's rights, anti-bullying initiatives, and leveraging her visibility to bring attention to these important issues. Her legal background and personal experience fueled her desire to be a voice for those who couldn't speak for themselves. She often spoke about the importance of self-esteem and empowerment, aiming to inspire young women to truly believe in their worth and potential. Reeva's early life was also marked by a strong sense of family. She was incredibly close to her parents and maintained a deep bond with them despite the demands of her career. Her family described her as a loving and compassionate daughter who always made time for those she cared about. This nurturing side of Reeva extended to her friendships, where she was known for her loyalty, kindness, and genuine concern for others. Reeva was not just beauty and brains. She was a woman with a heart full of empathy and a spirit that sought justice. She was deeply involved with charity work and often volunteered her time to support causes that aligned with her values. She worked with organizations aimed at combating bullying and domestic violence, hoping to make a tangible difference in the lives of vulnerable individuals. Her efforts in these areas were not merely superficial. They were rooted in a genuine desire to see a better world. Oscar Leonard Carl Pistorius, born November 22, 1986 in Sandton, Johannesburg, South Africa, would emerge as a global icon in the world of athletics. But his early life was marked by both challenges and triumphs which shaped his journey. Born into a middle-class Afrikaner family, Oscar's childhood was anything but ordinary. From birth, he faced significant adversity. Oscar was born with fibular hemimelia, a congenital absence of the fibula in both legs. At just 11 months old, his parents, Hank and Sheila Pistorius, made the difficult decision to have both of his legs amputated below the knee. This decision was made with the belief that it would give Oscar the best chance for a mobile and active life. Remarkably, within months of this surgery, Oscar was fitted with his first pair of prosthetic legs and began learning to walk, demonstrating a resilience that would become a hallmark of his character. Growing up in a supportive and loving family environment, Oscar's parents encouraged him to participate in various sports, fostering a competitive spirit from an early age. Despite his physical challenges, Oscar was determined to lead a life similar to that of his peers. He attended Constantia Kloof Primary School and later Pretoria Boys High School, where he was actively involved in sports, excelling in rugby, water polo, and tennis. His athletic abilities were evident, and he never let his disability deter him from pursuing his passions. Tragedy struck the Pistorius family when Oscar was 15 years old. His mother, Sheila, who had been a pillar of strength and support, passed away suddenly due to complications from a drug reaction. Sheila's death had a profound impact on Oscar, but it also fueled his determination to succeed. He often spoke about his mother's belief in him and how her memory continued to inspire him to push through obstacles. Oscar's introduction to running was somewhat serendipitous. After sustaining a knee injury while playing rugby in 2003, he was introduced to track running as part of his rehabilitation process. Under the guidance of coach Ampi Liu, Oscar quickly took to the sport, demonstrating remarkable speed and agility on his prosthetic legs. Within a year, he was competing in national and international competitions, earning the nickname Blade Runner for his use of carbon fiber prosthetic blades. His rise in the world of athletics was meteoric. In 2004, at the age of 17, Oscar made his debut on the international stage at the Athens Paralympics, where he won a gold medal in the 200-meter T44 event and a bronze medal in the 100-meter T44 event. These achievements marked the beginning of his illustrious career and would garner him global recognition. Oscar's early success continued to build momentum. He went on to set world records in the 100, 200, and 400-meter events for T44 athletes. His ambition, however, extended beyond the Paralympic Games. Oscar sought to compete against able-bodied athletes, challenging the conventional boundaries of disability in sports. This ambition led to a protracted legal battle with the International Association of Athletic Federations, which initially barred him from competing in able-bodied competition, citing concerns that his prosthetic limbs gave him an unfair advantage. In 2008, after extensive scientific testing and legal argument, the Court of Arbitration for Sport ruled in Oscar's favor, allowing him to compete in IAAF-sanctioned events. This landmark decision paved the way for him to compete in the 2012 London Olympics, where he would become the first amputee sprinter to participate in the Games. Although he did not win a medal, his presence on the track was a symbolic victory for athletes with disabilities worldwide, breaking barriers and challenging perceptions. Throughout his early life, Oscar exemplified determination, resilience, and an unyielding pursuit of excellence. His journey from a young boy with a disability to a world-renowned athlete was marked by significant personal and professional milestones. His early life truly set the stage for his later achievements, painting a picture of a man driven by ambition and the desire to redefine what was even possible in the realm of athletics.
Reeva's family buried her this week amid one of the most talked about court cases this year. Her athletic star boyfriend, Oscar Pistorius, charged with murder. He admits shooting her, but says he did it out of self-defense, thinking she was a burglar. Reeva was shot dead on Valentine's Day while in the toilet of Pistorius' home.
Oscar Pistorius and Reeva Steenkamp's paths first crossed in November 2012 at a high-profile party in Johannesburg. Both were rising stars in their respective fields, Oscar as an internationally acclaimed athlete, and Reeva as a well-known model and media personality. Their meeting at this glamorous event seemed almost fated, as they were instantly drawn to each other, sharing a chemistry that was palpable to those around them. Oscar was captivated by Reeva's beauty, intelligence, and warm personality. She, in turn, was impressed by his charisma, drive, and the way he had overcome so many obstacles to achieve success. Their shared experience in the public eye and understanding of the pressures that come with fame created a unique bond between them. They would soon begin dating, and their relationship quickly became the subject of media attention. In the early days of their romance, Oscar and Reeva appeared to be the perfect couple. They were often seen together at public events where they exuded happiness and affection. Their social media accounts were filled with photos of them enjoying each other's company, whether attending functions, traveling, or simply spending a quiet moment together. Their relationship was marked by mutual support and admiration, with both often speaking highly of the other in interviews. Oscar, who had always been fiercely private about his personal life, seemed much more open and relaxed with Reeva by his side. Friends and family noted a softer, more tender side of him emerging as he navigated his burgeoning relationship with Reeva. She brought a sense of balance and normalcy to his life, helping him to navigate the pressures of his high-profile career. Reeva was equally smitten with Oscar. She admired his determination and strength, traits that resonated with her own resilient nature. Their relationship was a whirlwind of passion and intensity, with both of them fully immersing themselves in their connection. Reeva often spoke about how Oscar made her feel cherished and loved, providing her with a sense of security and companionship. The couple's friends described their relationship as deeply affectionate and intense. They were both driven and ambitious, which sometimes led to friction. but their strong bond and deep love for each other often help them navigate these challenges. Despite the pressures and demands of their careers, they always made time for each other, prioritizing their relationship amidst their hectic schedules. Oscar and Reeva enjoyed spending time at Oscar's home in the gated community of Silver Woods in Pretoria, where they found solace away from the public eye. They often shared intimate meals together, worked out together, and supported each other's professional endeavors. Reeva, with her law degree, was passionate about women's rights, and she found in Oscar a partner who respected and encouraged her ambition. As their relationship progressed, they faced the typical ups and downs of any couple. While they shared many happy moments together, there were also instances of jealousy and misunderstandings, typical of any passionate couple and of high-profile relationships. Nonetheless, both seemed committed to making it work, with Reeva often expressing her hope for their future together. However, despite the seemingly idyllic exterior, there were underlying tensions. Reeva's friends would later recount moments where she expressed concerns about Oscar's temper and controlling behavior. These revelations cast a shadow over the public perception of their relationship, hinting at complexities that were not immediately visible to the outside world. Their relationship, although brief, was intense and multifaceted, filled with moments of joy and affection, but also marked by these underlying challenges. The early days of Oscar and Reeva's romance were a mix of passion, mutual admiration, and the shared experience of navigating life under the spotlight. They appeared to be deeply in love, building a life together, and dreaming of a future that would tragically never come to pass. As Oscar and Reeva's relationship bloomed in the public eye, their fairy tale romance would mask underlying tension that would culminate in a tragic evening. On a fateful February night in 2013, the world was stunned by news that shattered the illusion of their picture-perfect union. That evening, events would unfold in Oscar's home in Silver Woods that would change everything. Details emerged of a harrowing sequence of events, capturing global attention and sparking intense speculation about what truly happened behind closed doors. On Valentine's Day 2013, Oscar Pistorius fired 4 shots through the door of a locked bathroom in his Pretoria home, tragically striking Reeva Steenkamp 3 times. After realizing what had happened, Pistorius used a cricket bat to break down the bathroom door in an attempt to reach her. He immediately tried to administer emergency medical aid and called for help. Among the first responders was Dr. Johan Stipp, a neighbor who performed emergency measures to try to save Reeva. Dr. Stipp's assessment revealed the severity of her injuries. She had no peripheral pulse, showed no signs of breathing, and her pupils were fixed and dilated, indicating that she had been fatally wounded. When police arrived at the scene, they discovered a door punctured by bullet holes and a bloodied cricket bat, which Pistorius had supposedly used to break down the door after realizing that Steenkamp was inside. The bathroom floor was strewn with evidence: 2 cell phones and a 9mm pistol, which Pistorius had used in the shooting. Despite his assertion of a tragic mistake, Oscar was promptly arrested and charged with murder. Pistorius's trial for murder commenced on March 3, 2014 at the Pretoria High Court. The proceedings were halted on May 20, 2014, and scheduled to resume on June 30th to allow Pistorius to undergo psychiatric evaluation. This evaluation was requested by prosecutor Jerry Nell after forensic psychiatrist Merrill Vorster, testifying for the defense, diagnosed Pistorius with generalized anxiety disorder. Judge Thokozile Masipa granted the request to assess Pistorius's criminal responsibility. Upon completion of the psychiatric evaluation, which concluded that Oscar could be held criminally responsible, the trial resumed on June 30th, 2014. The state prosecutor stated, Mr. Pistorius did not suffer from a mental illness or defect that would have rendered him not criminally responsible for the offense charged. The defense concluded its case on July 8th, and closing arguments were presented on the 7th and 8th of August.
Tonight, Oscar Pistorius tells the court of the dramatic events of the night he shot his girlfriend.
Before I knew it, I'd fired 4 shots at the door.
The athlete breaks down uncontrollably as he describes the moment he realized what he'd done.
She wasn't breathing.
Throughout the legal proceedings which followed, Pistorius maintained his version of events, insisting that he had not intended to harm Steenkamp. Prosecutors, however, painted a different picture during the trial, alleging that Pistorius intentionally shot Steenkamp after a heated argument. They argued that his story of mistaking her for an intruder was fabricated to cover up a violent act committed in anger. The case captivated the world's attention, highlighting issues of domestic violence and gun ownership in South Africa, as well as raising questions about his intentions and actions on that fateful evening. During his testimony, Oscar recounted that they had spent a quiet evening together, dining and watching television before retiring for the night. Pistorius claimed he woke in the early hours, unable to sleep, and that Miss Steenkamp asked him, "Can't you sleep, my baba?" He then brought 2 fans inside from the balcony. He recounted hearing the bathroom windows slide open in the pre-dawn hours, which prompted him to believe that intruders had entered through the unprotected window lacking burglar bars. In a tense moment of fear, he grabbed his firearm and instructed Reeva, whom he assumed was still in bed, to call the police. During the trial, the judge heavily scrutinized Oscar's account, questioning why Reeva did not respond to his shouted commands or phone calls, considering that she had her mobile phone with her at the time. The judge found it implausible that Reeva would not have heard his cries to get out, or his attempts to summon help, adding to the complex narrative of events which surround that tragic evening. This sequence of events formed a pivotal part of Oscar's defense, illustrating his state of mind and the actions in what he described as a desperate attempt to protect himself and Reeva from what he perceived as a genuine threat to their safety. However, the prosecution countered these claims, arguing that Pistorius' actions were not those of a fearful homeowner confronting an intruder, but rather a deliberate and reckless act resulting in the tragic death of Reeva Steenkamp. When I got to the bathroom entrance, I saw that the window was open, Pistorius testified. I shouted for Reeva to call the police. I wasn't sure if someone was going to emerge from the toilet and attack me. I also feared someone might climb a ladder and shoot us. So, I stayed where I was, yelling. Then, I heard a noise from inside the toilet. I thought someone was coming out. Before I knew it, I fired 4 shots at the door. The sound of gunshots ringing in his ears, he kept shouting for Steenkamp to call the police before retreating to the bedroom, where he discovered she wasn't in bed. I thought maybe she had crouched down on the floor as I'd told her to do, Maybe she was just scared, he recalled. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I tried talking to her. It was then that I first considered that it might be Reeva in the bathroom, Pistorius said, visibly emotional. I jumped out of the other side of the bed and felt along the curtains to make sure she wasn't hiding. Reluctant to accept that Steenkamp could be in the bathroom, he said, I was so scared someone was coming to attack us. I went into the bathroom, tried to grab the handle, and pushed against the locked door. Returning to the bedroom, Pistorius opened the curtains and doors, shouting for help from the balcony. I screamed, "Help! Help! Help!" I cried out for someone to assist me. I put on my prosthetic legs and ran back to the bathroom, but the door wouldn't budge, he recounted. I tried kicking it, but it didn't move. Desperate to reach Steenkamp, Pistorius retrieved a cricket bat from the bedroom and struck the toilet door multiple times in an attempt to force it open. I hit the door about 3 times and managed to pull a plank off, he explained. Eventually, finding the key on the floor, he unlocked the door. I knelt beside Reeva and I cried, Pistorius told the court, overcome with emotion. I don't know how long I was there. Once he managed to force open the door, Pistorius discovered Steenkamp slumped on the floor, her head resting on the toilet bowl. Overcome with shock and desperation, he carried her downstairs, where he was met by concerned neighbors. The scene described by Pistorius painted a picture of frantic efforts to save Steenkamp's life, but it also raised further questions about the sequence of events and the intensity of his actions. The prosecution asserted that Oscar Pistorius intentionally killed Reeva Steenkamp following an argument on Valentine's Day. Chief Prosecutor Jerry Nell vehemently contested Oscar's version of events, labeling it a fabrication and asserting that an argument had ensued just before the fatal shooting.
You fired 4 shots through the door, knowing that she was standing behind it,
Nell accused Pistorius.
She was locked in the bathroom, and you armed yourself with the clear intent to shoot and kill her.
That's not true, responded Pistorius in defense. During cross-examination, the prosecution scrutinized the athlete's character and his avid interest in firearms. The court was presented with a Sky News report depicting Pistorius at a shooting range, underscoring his proficiency and comfort with firearms. Additionally, Chief Prosecutor Jerry Nell displayed a photograph to the court illustrating the devastating impact of the shooting on Reeva Steenkamp's head. Despite this, Pistorius refused to look at the photo, stating firmly, "I will not look at a picture where I am tormented by what I saw." Nell repeatedly challenged Pistorius' emotional responses in court, accusing him of using his emotions as a tactic to evade the tough questions.
You're becoming emotional now because you're feeling frustrated, as your version of events is implausible,
Nell asserted. Moreover, the prosecution highlighted several apparent inconsistencies between Oscar's initial bail application and his testimony during the trial. These discrepancies were aimed at undermining Oscar's credibility and casting doubt on the veracity of his account of the tragic events. The defense and the prosecution were also at odds regarding the sounds heard on the night of the tragedy, debating whether they were caused by Pistorius striking the door with a cricket bat, gunshots, or a combination of both. During the trial, a forensic analyst contradicted Pistorius' assertion that he was wearing his prosthetic legs when he attempted to break down the toilet door upon realizing that Reeva was inside. Police Colonel Johannes Vermeulen testified that the angle and location of the marks on the door indicated Pistorius was on his stumps at the time, Demonstrating in court, Vermeulen knelt down to replicate swinging the bat, stating, "The marks on the door are consistent with him not wearing his prosthetic legs, and I suspect that they match the height he would have been when he fired the shots." Ballistics expert Christian Mangina detailed his analysis in court, asserting that Reeva was standing upright in the toilet cubicle, facing the closed door when she was first struck in the right hip by a bullet. He explained that after being hit, Steenkamp fell backwards onto a magazine rack positioned next to the toilet. Mangina continued, stating that 3 more shots were fired through the door. 1 bullet missed Steenkamp, ricocheted off the wall twice, and caused bruising on her back, although the defense disputed this finding. According to Mangina, 2 subsequent shots hit Reeva, one in the arm and the other penetrating her left hand into her skull as she instinctively crossed her arms over her head for protection. He detailed that the final shot to her head caused her to collapse, with her head coming to rest on the toilet seat. Mangina specified that the firearm had been discharged from a distance of at least 60 centimeters, or 23 inches, from the door, but no more than 3 meters away. He also indicated that Pistorius was likely not wearing his prosthetic legs during this incident. This testimony aligned with Pistorius' own account that he had fired his gun while standing at the entrance to the bathroom, corroborating the physical evidence presented in court. However, Mangina pointed out a crucial discrepancy. He believed that there was a gap between the first and second shots, contrary to Pistorius' claim of firing in rapid succession. This gap in gunfire supports the testimony of a neighbor who reported hearing a shot, followed by a pause, and then 3 more shots. It also suggests that Steenkamp may have had a brief moment to scream before collapsing, consistent with this neighbor's account of hearing a woman scream. In contrast, pathologist Jan Botha, testifying for the defense, offered a different perspective. He argued that if Pistorius had indeed fired his weapon rapidly in 2 bursts, as the defense contended, Steenkamp likely wouldn't have had time to vocalize. Botha emphasized the uncertainty of his analysis, stating that he was not a ballistics expert. Moreover, Botha's testimony contradicted the earlier statements by state pathologist Gert Seeman regarding the timing of Reeva's last meal, based on her stomach contents. While Seeman indicated that vegetable matter suggested Reeva had eaten approximately 2 hours before her death, Oscar's defense team claimed she had been asleep for longer. Botha criticized the reliability of analyzing gastric contents, labeling it, quote, "a highly controversial and inexact science," end quote.
In the context of forensic pathology.
Witnesses for the prosecution, including a resident of the nearby Silver Stream estate, would testify to hearing a woman's scream, followed by gunshots. They recounted these chilling sounds during the trial proceedings. However, the defense has vigorously contested this testimony, arguing that the screams heard were from Oscar, reacting to the realization of what had transpired, and that the sounds of banging were attributed to him using a cricket bat to access Steenkamp. The first individuals to arrive at the scene after the shooting were the manager of the gated community where Pistorius lived and his daughter. According to the manager's testimony, Pistorius was visibly distraught, crying, screaming, and praying as he carried Reeva's bloodied body down the stairs. In South African trials, there are no juries present. Instead, the judge presides over the case and is aided by 2 assessors in reaching a verdict. This panel of 3 legal experts would ultimately determine Pistorius' fate based on the evidence presented and the arguments made by both sides. The Supreme Court of Appeal ultimately convicted Pistorius of murder under a specific South African legal principle, determining that his reckless actions when he fired through the door showed a clear disregard for human life, leading to Reeva Steenkamp's death. This conviction, akin to a third-degree murder charge, resulted in Pistorius being sentenced to 13 years and 5 months in prison. However, the court did not definitively establish whether Oscar knew he was shooting at Reeva and whether or not he intended to kill her. An unresolved question, central to the case, that we may never fully know the answer to. In addition to the charge of murder, Oscar Pistorius would face 2 other firearm-related charges. The first accusation was that he recklessly fired his gun out of the open sunroof of a car a year prior, and the second alleged that he had discharged someone else's handgun at a restaurant just weeks before the tragic shooting of Reeva Steenkamp. Samantha Taylor, Pistorius' former girlfriend, testified that the sunroof incident occurred when Oscar became enraged after being pulled over for speeding by a police officer. She further stated that Pistorius habitually carried his firearm and would become highly agitated. The court's unanimous verdict, delivered by Judge Thokozile Masipa, with the agreement of her 2 assessors over 2 days, had significant implications. On September 11th, Judge Masipa dismissed much of the state's circumstantial evidence, while criticizing Oscar as a very poor witness. She concluded that the state had not proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Pistorius was guilty of premeditated murder or common murder, dolus eventualis. She accepted Pistorius's assertion that he did not foresee the possibility of killing someone behind the bathroom door, believing instead that Steenkamp was still in the bedroom. However, Judge Masipa noted that a reasonable person in Oscar's situation would have foreseen the potential consequences of firing 4 shots into a closed door. She criticized Pistorius for acting hastily, using excessive force, and displaying negligence by not taking steps to prevent Reeva's death. On September 12th, Judge Masipa acquitted Pistorius of murder, but found him guilty of culpable homicide or manslaughter for the death of Steenkamp, and guilty of reckless endangerment with a firearm related to the restaurant incident. Pistorius was ultimately cleared of charges related to discharging a firearm through a car sunroof and illegal possession of ammunition. The sentencing hearing commenced on October 13, 2014, following an extension of Pistorius' bail. During the verdict delivery, social media responses, monitored by ROI Africa, overwhelmingly criticized Judge Masipa once it became apparent that Pistorius would not be convicted of murder. The judge, who had received police protection due to threats and personal attacks throughout the trial, faced further criticism and threats from individuals who disagreed with the verdict. The sentencing proceedings began on October 13, 2014, with witnesses for the defense recommending a 3-year community sentence, correctional supervision, involving 16 hours of monthly community service. State witness Zach Modis, acting National Commissioner of Correctional Services, testified that due to his disability, Pistorius would be housed in the hospital wing of Pretoria Central Prison if given a prison sentence. On October 15th, Steenkamp's parents announced that they would not testify nor pursue a separate civil lawsuit. However, Steenkamp's cousin, Kim Martin, testified about the impact on the family, and advocated for a prison sentence. Closing arguments were presented on October 17th, with the defense opposing a prison term, while the state advocated for a minimum sentence of 10 years. The state concluded its case on March 25th, after calling 20 witnesses from an initial list of 107. On October 21st, 2014, Oscar Pistorius was sentenced to a maximum of 5 years in prison for culpable homicide. Part of this sentence could be served under correctional supervision after he completed a minimum of 1/6 or 10 months of the 5-year term. Additionally, Pistorius received a concurrent 3-year prison sentence, suspended for 5 years, for the reckless endangerment conviction stemming from the restaurant incident. On June 8, 2015, South African Commissioner of Correctional Services Zach Modis announced that the Prison Case Management Committee recommended Oscar Pistorius be released under correctional supervision on the 21st of August 2015, having served 1/6 of his sentence. This decision was based on good behavior and the assessment that he posed no danger to the community. Under this arrangement, Pistorius would continue to serve his sentence under house arrest and correctional supervision, possibly with community service obligations. However, regardless of his release from prison, Pistorius remained prohibited from participating in any official athletic competitions until completing his full 5-year sentence. On the 19th of August 2015, just 2 days before Pistorius was scheduled to leave prison, Justice Minister Michael Masutha referred the case to the Parole Review Board. He argued that the Parole Board should not have begun considering parole until Pistorius had completed 1/6 of his sentence, marking a novel interpretation of parole procedures. Legal experts note that parole boards typically review cases well ahead of the earliest release date. The move sparked allegations of political interference, particularly after a tweet from the African National Congress incorrectly labeled Pistorius as a convicted murderer. The Parole Review Board convened on the 18th of September, but deferred its decision for 2 weeks due to unresolved matters. According to Manalisi Wolela, spokesman for the Department of Correctional Services, the board was unable to address all of the issues at hand. On the 5th of October 2015, the Parole Review Board referred the decision back to the original parole panel, stipulating that Pistorius undergo psychotherapy as part of his parole conditions. Oscar's family questioned the legality of this delay, suggesting that he was being treated differently due to public and media scrutiny, asserting that he was already going through psychotherapy. Subsequently, on the 9th of October 2015, the Parole Board reconvened, but postponed a final decision until the 15th of October, indicating that they would further consult with Reeva Steenkamp's family. Ultimately, on the 15th of October 2015, the Parole Board confirmed that Pistorius would be released to house arrest, originally set for the 20th of October 2015, but actually occurring on the 19th of October 2015. Following his conviction for murder in the Supreme Court of Appeal on December 3, 2015, which would overturn his earlier culpable homicide verdict, Oscar Pistorius faced numerous further legal battles. The court would rule unanimously that Pistorius was guilty of murder, asserting that he should have known his actions would result in death, irrespective of his belief about who was behind the bathroom door. The judge emphasized that Pistorius' firearms training and use of a high-caliber weapon heightened his responsibility to foresee the consequences of his actions, describing the case as a, quote, human tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. The panel's decision marked a critical turning point in the legal saga. On December 8, 2015, Judge Aubrey Ledwaba granted Pistorius a bail of 10,000 rand under strict conditions, including house arrest and electronic monitoring. He was permitted limited movement between 7 a.m. and noon within a 20-kilometer radius of his uncle's residence in Pretoria, with a requirement to surrender his passport. Pistorius announced plans to appeal his murder conviction to South Africa's Constitutional Court. Despite his legal team's efforts, the Constitutional Court denied his application for leave to appeal in March 2016. In response to the Supreme Court of Appeal's ruling in December 2015, which overturned the culpable homicide verdict and imposed a murder conviction, Judge Thokozile Masipa sentenced Pistorius to 6 years in prison for murder on the 6th of July 2016. This sentence, lower than the prosecution's call for 15 years, which is the minimum for murder in South Africa, considered Oscar's previous incarceration and his expressions of remorse. However, in November 2017, the South African Supreme Court of Appeal would extend Pistorius' sentence to a total of 15 years, following a government appeal. Eligible for parole in 2023, Pistorius and his legal team sought to appeal this decision. However, the Constitutional Court dismissed his application for leave to appeal in March 2018. Following the denial of his parole on the 31st of March 2023, Oscar Pistorius was finally released on the 5th of January 2024, having served 9 years of his sentence. Reeva Steenkamp's tragic death deeply impacted those who knew her and the broader public, resonating far beyond the courtroom proceedings involving Oscar Pistorius. Her funeral, a solemn occasion captured in poignant images, symbolized the loss of a vibrant young woman whose life was cut short in a moment of senseless violence. Friends and family gathered to mourn her, reflecting on her kindness, aspirations, and the future she had envisioned. Despite the legal and media focus on Oscar during the trial and subsequent appeals, Reeva's memory remains a poignant reminder of the human cost of domestic violence and the need for justice. Her family, speaking on her behalf, sought to ensure that her legacy was not overshadowed by legal proceedings, but rather honored through advocacy for victims' rights and awareness about intimate partner violence. Beyond the proceedings surrounding Oscar Pistorius, Reeva's memory continues to resonate as a reminder of the devastating impact of domestic violence and the need for justice. Her legacy inspires ongoing efforts to support victims, to advocate for their rights, and to raise awareness about the consequences of violence. Through honoring her memory, there is a collective commitment to fostering safer communities and working towards a future where tragedies like hers can be prevented. It is my honor and deepest privilege to remember Reeva by placing her firmly where she belongs, at the center of this narrative, never to be forgotten for the beautiful, enigmatic person that she was. If you or somebody that you care about are facing domestic abuse, please know that you're not alone and that there is help available. Your safety and well-being are of the utmost importance. Remember that you deserve to live without fear and violence and that there are people out there who care about your well-being and who want to support you through this difficult time. You have the right to seek help and to pursue a life free from abuse. In the description box of this video, I have compiled a range of resources and helpful links that I personally found useful when I was leaving my own abuser, and I encourage you to explore them. You are capable of overcoming this, and I believe in you wholeheartedly. As we conclude this chapter, let us carry forward the lessons learned and continue the fight against domestic violence in all of its forms. Together, we can work towards creating a world where every individual feels safe, valued, and empowered to live without fear. The painting I've been working on today is a birthday gift for someone very dear to me. It's called Mea Culpa, and at the time of recording this voiceover, very early in the morning on July 16th, 2024, I really have, once again, only just begun. As of now, I've completed only the pencil sketch and about 1/3 of the preliminary line work, so I have no idea how long this piece is going to take me, but I'm into it about 9 hours now, and I'll pop the total elapsed time on the screen right now for the curious. It is 9 by 12 inches and will be composed of some combination of watercolor and gouache paint, Posca pen, India ink, and gilding foils on 300 GSM 140-pound cold-pressed block. While this piece is not available for sale, many of my other original works are, and my books are currently open to custom commissioned work as well. This is a fabulous time to get a commission from me, as I do have some additional time on my hands this summer, and my prices will be going up in September. I also ship for free across Canada, but I'm happy to ship globally for a nominal fee as well. If any of that sounds interesting to you, please send me an email to hello@stageleftproject.ca. If you believe in the power of conversation, in dismantling the silence which shrouds domestic abuse, and in fostering empathy, then I invite you to be a part of the Memento Mori Stories community. Subscribe to our channel to stay engaged with thought-provoking stories, discussions, and creative expressions. Together, we can be a force for awareness, understanding, and healing. Your subscription is so much more than just a click. It's a pledge to be a part of a movement which embraces the power of storytelling to bring about positive change. Remember, every voice matters, and yours can be a catalyst for good. Subscribe, share, and let's continue this journey together. Remember, one day you will die, but for now, live well. Ciao for now.